Hey everybody, welcome to Chatbox Reviews. I'm Stan with my lovely wife Tanya here again. We're doing a review, spoiler-free, of Justice League. Finally, after all these years, we finally get to see a Justice League movie. And I was so worried going into this, just thinking, oh man, Zack Snyder really kind of dropped the ball on, BVS. He had a great thing with Man of Steel. BVS was a little bit like, oh God, what's going on? We had a misfire with Suicide Squad, which I don't even want to acknowledge. Wonder Woman brought it back. I was so stoked about Wonder Woman. I was like, oh man, hopefully Justice League goes in a positive way. And for me personally, it was fan service for me watching Justice League. I was really surprised at holy crap, this is actually pretty good. And kudos to Joss Whedon, because he was apparently brought in to cut it, recut it, and reshoot it. And I think for a film that was probably the first script, they kind of pushed it aside and said, all right, let's rewrite it because we need to put a positive, more kind of lighthearted, more fun sort of film, and they shot that. Snyder sadly had a tragic thing happen to him. He had to step aside. Whedon's come in. He's done a couple of reshoots and stuff and tied it together, weaved it together really well. I was so surprised.
Just Whedon. Sorry.
Yeah, yes, okay. Whedon.
He weaved it together.
He did a pretty good job, and I'm not the biggest diehard Joss Whedon fan, but I think he did a pretty good job. How do you feel pretty much?
Spoiler free. I was pleasantly surprised as well. Words. But there were problems with it, which we'll get into the spoilers, but I came out of there feeling good. I really enjoyed it.
Some of the things, the problems I had with it was, I can sort of see what I don't like about this, and it's not, the overall movie's fault. When you have a certain limit of time to have a movie in a cinema, you've got to cut it back. I didn't care for an extended version of BVS or Suicide Squad. I would love to see an extended version of this movie, because there is one or two little things in the trailers that we see that we don't see
in the movie.
In the movie. And not that it kind of harms the movie. I think something that sort of hurt a little bit was CGI is very noticeable, and that's not a bad thing. I think when you have to watch make believe, you have to get to a point where you're like, well, that's not real what I'm looking at, but it's entertaining.
You can be very forgiving with the movie, but it just depends on your style. If you just can't get past some of the CGI, I know a certain character where I was like, I just kept getting taken out every time. Yeah,
there is a few bits and pieces where you're just like, yeah, I can forgive it. Whatever. But pretty much for me, I think if this had another 6 more months, or was released next year, it would have been kind of polished a little bit better. But I didn't really have such an issue with this was horrible because it didn't look perfect. And I was like, no, all the characters are there. All this nice kind of weaving story is there. The villain isn't something that you're like, oh man, there's such a gritty, unique story and stuff. Because you're like, no, I'm here for the heroes, not the villain.
They still could have played it up a little bit.
I think two directors, sort of like a tug of war.
Yeah, you can tell the difference between.
Yeah. You can go, well, Snyder directed this because it looks beautiful, and then you're like, oh look,
this is funny.
Whedon's done this. This is clearly a funny scene that he's jammed in there. But there's also a couple of human moments when you're like, oh yeah, that's sort of nice. I acknowledge that. But any standout characters that you were like?
Well,
really?
My favorite will always be Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I mean, she always stands out for me. Besides that, I mean, Flash was okay. It's so hard for me to, consider Barry Allen from CW TV show to the movie. So I'm just like, I wish he could pull CW Grant
different
Gustin.
Earths, different versions.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Grant Gustin. So.
I mean, yeah, Aquaman kind of was a sort of. I thought I was going to come out of this hating him. I sort of went, all right, I kind of get it.
He didn't bother me, so
Different characters, different unique sort of styles to each of them. Diana for me stands out. Like, you know, Wonder Woman was amazing. So yeah, just
Amazon's
seeing her in this,
awesome.
it was like, I know how badass she is. I knew how badass she was in BVS, and that was one of my favorite parts of BVS. Seeing her come into
smirking.
Yeah, just that live action style of her. But yeah, just a lot of this does feel like a course correction. Like it helps me kind of go like not. It felt like an apology for like Suicide Squad and BVS.
Oh, man.
This does feel like that for me. And this is coming from a fan. This isn't like, oh, well, it's very unique and the style that they took. It's like, no. This was just fan service. There's scenes in there that you're kind of like, wow, this is cool. But
there's also scenes that you kind of like, really?
Yeah, there is a couple of like, eh.
But overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I walked out there with a smile on my face and...
I'll go see it again.
Yeah, I think we'll go see it again.
But yeah, we're going to do a spoilers review in our next video. So check that out after you've seen the movie. Yeah. And if you agree with us or if you're looking forward to seeing us, like let us know in the comments.
Yeah, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks. Bye.